for the people who are out there and want to understand, maybe ACEX, just to begin with that, because that is the most recent product that you hadn't launched in the Kenyan market. Maybe just briefly explain to us, what is that?
Okay, first of all, ACEX, the letters ACEX, they stand for African Consolidated Exchange. What TE Markets is building is a consolidated exchange where we can put different platforms, trading platforms, we're trading different assets on one platform, one trading platform, so that people don't have to go there to, for example, just do a peer-to-peer exchange, or to trade commodities, or to trade African indices, or to trade crypto. We're building an exchange where everything is going to be on one trading platform, as well as the raising of capital. So we've been on this journey now a little over a year, I think almost 18 months since we started working on this project. And the good news is that we are just almost there with the second version of the African Consolidated Exchange. So it's a fantastic program, fantastic platform that we're building that's for the benefit of just about anyone, anywhere around the world. But our focus is the continent of Africa.
Okay, and since the launch, which was not too far ago, by how much has the participation on the platform ACEX grown so far?
Okay, you see, we launched on the 17th of December, 2021 last year. And when we launched, we picked up that the first version of the exchange wasn't functioning properly. As you know, an exchange is basically a very complex mathematical calculator, where you can buy and trade the assets. Now, it wasn't functioning very well. That developer that we had employed to put together that exchange did not exactly nail it the way we wanted it to be. And so we had to start, quite frankly, all over again by employing another contractor developer that developed the exchange that took another 6 months. This is when they just finished. We've gone live. We've started, I think we went live a few weeks ago. We've opened the exchange for registrations. We've hundreds of registrations, well over 1,000 registrations just in the first 1 week of going live. And we anticipate thousands of more coming on board. And I'm talking about both active and passive traders here. Yeah, so the journey has begun, or it began last year, but the only unfortunate part was that the first version of the exchange wasn't working well, and I do believe the second version is going to be an awesome platform for us to roll out our programs going forward.
Okay, and we've seen a lot of reports online about disgruntled investors and whatnot. Maybe the fact that the first version of the platform was not functioning as properly, could that have caused this? And maybe in what ways have you addressed this to make sure that the second version does not have such challenges?
Oh, okay. First of all, we made sure that the second developer understood how we wanted the application to function. We made sure that we got involved in just about every little aspect of developing the exchange and back testing, all the way to the point where we've gone live. Right now, we're just waiting. In fact, as of this date, the 22nd of July, we're just waiting for some connectivity to some feeds and all that, and the actual trading can start. So how have we addressed disgruntled early adopters or early investors? Is that we've kept them informed. Quite frankly, we've kept them informed from last year. Last year, we did a tremendous campaign where we actually had webinars going on twice a week just to keep the members well informed all the way up to the end of last year. And then this year, we keep them updated at least once, twice every month via webinars and emails that we send out so that they understand the progress, and we keep them updated. And many of them are very supportive, and we wouldn't have gotten here without them. But of course, there are those that just sometimes have not understood or don't understand, the magnitude of the project and how it will benefit them now and in the long term. And so, because they don't understand, I think as a company, we need to do a little bit more in terms of educating the early adopters, the early investors that came on board, so that they see the benefits and where this can take them, and what sort of value they'll be able to pull out, not just next month or the other month, but for a very long time to come. So I think as a company, we need to do a little bit more. As long as you have someone complaining or not understanding or sending signals that they're somehow uncomfortable, it just tells us that, yeah, we are at a place where we need to do a little bit more. In fact, not a little bit more, much more, in terms of putting out a lot of educational materials and having perhaps go back to the bi-weekly, or even a little bit more of that in terms of what webinars we do and what educational materials we pull out. I think it's just a question of understanding and educating those that don't understand. It's not all of them. We do still enjoy a great big majority support from the early adopters to this very day. We continue doing the surveys. Even the last survey that we done shows that we well over 76% support from well-meaning, mature early adopters that that are back in the project. And then you have, just like in any other scenario, even in the traditional space, I'm sure you've seen that a stock that people would have bought in, for example, the galactic space of that went out, I think they must have debuted, I think 2009, I just can't recall. You do have some members that are disgruntled, and that doesn't mean that that project is not going to deliver. It's just that they're probably frustrated and not understanding all the details. So I'm not here to talk about other people's projects, but to just make a point that in every given scenario, there will be people that you'll probably have to reach out in a different way to make them understand that this is the direction the project is taking, and this is the benefit that they will be getting over the immediate and in the long term.
Okay, most of them were worried and were a bit concerned about the investments that they had already made. Just to give some sort of guarantee, is the money that was already invested in by the early investors, is it still safe? I understand now with the platform having issues and challenges, the return on investment would not have been made as much as they had wanted probably. But is their money safe, the ones who still have their money there? And are they guaranteed on return on investment once the second platform that has been worked on is officially launched?
Oh, yes. The return on investment is assured that they will get a return on investment. But first of all, we've got to understand the dynamics. Okay. Let me give you a scenario of projects or companies that people can recall, that they know to this very day. Let me give an example of Microsoft. Okay. Microsoft, I think, IPO'd in 1984. It paid out the first dividend, I think it was in 2000 and 4 or something like that. Apple, the company that we know, all of us, I think it IPO'd also in the 80s. It took 32 years for for Apple to develop the business as we know it today, for them to start paying dividends. Okay, well, I don't think we're going to take that long. For us, it is from the time we start active trading on our platform. I think in a matter of several weeks from there, we start paying dividends to our early adopters. So a company has to develop. Dividends actually come from activities that the company undertakes, and it is from the profits that the company generates that dividends are paid from. Okay, and so if, let's say, for example, you were an early investor in Apple or Microsoft, and then a few months later you go back and say, hey, is my capital safe? Of course they'll tell you safe. And then you would have waited that 32 years to be paid dividends. Would you then call them names if they took that long? What we've seen is that didn't happen. We've seen that with Galactic Space. We've seen that with X Space of Elon Musk. We've seen that with many businesses that went to a group of investors, or even had a step change model from what they were to to becoming a gigantic company that they are. Look at Amazon. I mean, I can just name them all. Some things don't take overnight, and sometimes the delay doesn't even mean denial. But what we see is that sometimes people just don't understand that projects such as ours, and in fact, we've actually somehow become a fintech company, that we can experience technical glitches. And these technical glitches, the delays that we've seen, and are not such that they cannot be solved. It's such that if we come across a technical glitch that we've, for example, the ones that we've experienced, it's just that maybe it will take another team, or it will take a different kind of effort, a different kind of energy for us to resolve that technical glitch before the project can proceed in the direction that it was intended to take. And so we've seen that happen even with big corporations. The Galactic Space that I was talking about, the earlier launch had serious technical glitches. It's only, I think, I think it was only last year, the year before, that they actually did, no, it was last year that they actually did a launch, and they went out into space and came back and landed safely. We've seen that with X Space. We saw that with the earlier versions of Microsoft or Apple, that the earlier versions of their products did not work that well. Now, it doesn't mean that we're trying to copy, a different model. It's just that sometimes you can experience these glitches, but a company like ours that is forward-thinking and is always looking for solutions, here we are. I think we've now resolved the glitches and we're back in business. And I hope that answers the question. But yeah, so basically that's what it is. It's not unique, in other words, to TE Markets and the ACEX. We've seen that with what we now see as big corporations. One day there was just a small operation as, for example, TE Markets, and then they just grew. And then the investors were informed and they were supportive and understood. And, so that's what happened in that scenario. And we expect that from our members. And of course, a lot of our mature, well-meaning members are very supportive. We get a lot of messages from the well-meaning members that are very supportive. And of course, like I said, there are those that just don't understand, that have not done a research, have not looked at other projects, and have not understood how these big companies that we see today, the Googles of this world, the Apple, IBM, Oracle is another big corporation that had glitches in their earlier days. They hadn't paid dividends for a very long time. But IBM, I know they did pay the dividends in the first year. I think they IPO'd in 1913. That same year they paid dividends, but they have missed some years where they didn't pay dividends to their members. But that didn't mean that they were not well-meaning. You see, so dividends are declared when a company makes profit from the activities that company has undertaken. And so when the investors invest in that particular company, and of course, the company goes out to investors to look for capital to develop a project, okay? And so when we did the step change from just trading and to developing our own our own platform and other running supporting businesses, we did inform our investors, and it is well in the terms and conditions that that they signed up for that we did this. So it's not like we just got up and just So we did keep the investors informed for like 6 months. In fact, from that point to this day, let me just say we kept them informed. So basically, that's what it is, and I hope that answers that question. If it doesn't, I can give a little bit more clarity.
It doesn't. That in-depth explanation actually answers the question. Now, while you were in the workshop, so to speak, working on the glitches that were there, the global card that you had launched on the 17th of September, Safaricom has actually launched a similar product, a global pay card, similar to what was launched. Do you think that in any way has actually sort of like put you at a disadvantage? Because theirs is actually linked to mobile money and all that, and understandably, yours is also linked to not only physical currency, but also digital currency. Do you see a situation where you can be not only competing, but at par with such a company?
Oh, yes, absolutely. The niche market that we service, I think is well beyond what Safaricom services. So I think I was reading about it. I think their geographic reach at the moment is mainly Kenya and the parts of East Africa, whereas we are actually global to start with. I don't know. Yes, you can use a pay card literally around the world. So can we. But the point I want to make here is competition is a fact of life. And we are out here to compete with just about everybody and anybody, because what we offer is slightly different from what they offer. We are a crypto to fiat solution. We reach out to parts of the world that are completely unserviced. We offer a product that is in the crypto industry, and the crypto industry is basically the future. So I'm not sure if they're in the crypto industry or they're just into digital currency. We are actually in the crypto industry that actually encompasses both the old fiat and the digital currency. So that is where we are. That is the difference. And I think going forward, we can comfortably compete with them. And competition is actually healthy and it's welcome. The mere fact that someone is doing it simply says there's business out there, just do it a different way. Go and offer something that is unique. And I think that's what we offer. And so we've had so many people sign up already. And as the trading commences on the ACEX, we are actually going to be connecting that card on the ACEX. And those that have already subscribed to it are actually going to see that it's extremely useful and quite an efficient tool to have.
Maybe for the benefit of just making it a bit clearer, on the ACEX platform, it's not only crypto or money or digital money that can be exchanged, it's also a commodities exchange. Maybe just take us through that a bit.
So sorry, ask the question again.
Yes, I was saying on the ACEX trading platform, it's not only money or cryptocurrency that is being exchanged there. There are commodities also, which makes it a fast.
Yeah.
So maybe for the benefit of the people who don't understand how it works, maybe in just a nutshell, how does it work?
Okay, in terms of commodities, initially, it will be synthetically traded on the exchange. In other words, it is going to mirror what is happening in the actual commodities market around the continent. So we're going to start out, for example, with maize, coffee, copper, gold, and a few of those that are actually going to mirror what's happening in the actual market, and people can trade those synthetics, okay, digital assets, within our platform. As the momentum and volume grows in future, cannot determine exactly when. In the near future, we can then get the actual markets being traded on the exchange. Now, that's a different ballgame altogether, because there's a lot of interfacing and connectivity and licensing that we will have to follow, and partnerships and collaborations that we'll have to engage with other service providers around the continent. For example, in Ethiopia, you have a good commodities exchange that is well developed, and we intend talking to them when the time comes. But as we start, we're actually going to start with the synthetics that are actually just mirrored to the actual market. Now, that in itself, a lot of people sometimes get confused with that. But if you, for example, you're trading the Forex market, many people, as they know it, they believe they're actually trading the actual market, but they're actually trading synthetics. There are very few institutions that actually trade the actual Forex market, and these are the big banks, the big Goldman Sachs, and the big Barclays, Absa, and so on and so forth. Those are the ones that actually trade the actual Forex markets. And most of these brokers that you hear of trading Forex, they're actually just trading synthetics. There's something that is mirrored from not all of them, but some of them. So let's not get a backlash from some of them, say not all of them, but some of them. If you do read the terms and conditions, they are actually trading or offering synthetics, which is mirrored Forex from the actual Forex market. So that is what's going to happen as initially. And that, of course, there's a lot of value in that. I guess people that are new to the industry to get to understand how the industry works, how pricing works, and and as that picks up, as they go into the actual market, it benefits them, and it benefits everybody else that is in the industry.
Just before I let you go, you are comparing, maybe contrasting the fortunes of ACEX and the market's entirety, on comparing them with other companies like Apple initially, the teething problems they had, and Microsoft. Maybe in the next 5 years, where do you see the platform going, and what sort of volumes do you see it creating and impact it having on its users and also the continent?
Okay. Yeah, thank you for that question. You see, big companies like the ones that I mentioned, the Microsoft, IBM's, Apple, Oracle, and all these massive companies, they started out small, okay, just like us, relatively small. We are not as small. We've also grown tremendously from where we were just 3 years ago. So they started out small. But a company such as ours, and in the industry where we are in, the crypto industry is the future, and it's going to grow. We've already seen that in the last several years, that it has grown tremendously, and basically it is the future. So we are one of the early adopters of crypto. There's massive adoption going on around the continent. So investing in a company such as ours is very beneficial. But where are we going to be in about 5 years from now? Remember, for us, it's not just the exchange. We're also actually promoting our own token that has projects in the traditional space. Now that together with an exchange such as the one that we've built in the next 5 years, that's a massive business there. Of course, who would have known that a company like Uber that started out with initially 5 cars, 10 cars on the street will be that big one day? Who would have thought a company like ByteDance, the company behind TikTok, would take on a giant like Facebook and actually overtake them you know, in such a short period in terms of marketing strategy and getting a big share of the market. So, the prospects for ACEX for the next 5 years are very, very big. It's a question of how we do the marketing, how we do the positioning, and who we are going to now focus on, and how we're going to focus the business to be able to deliver those services that we think are going to bring great value to the business. So I'm very, very bullish updates about where we're going, not just even in 5 years, even in just the next 12 months, the next 18 months, we're going to be a completely different company. Who would have thought, for those of our clients that were with us just 2-3 years ago, when we had, we could not even fill up a webinar with more than 30 people. But these days, our webinars can go as far as 3,000, sometimes 1,000, and that's just the beginning. And that's just a webinar. We've recorded well over 15,000 registered members at some point. And that is going to grow. With the exchange, the numbers are just, mind-blowing. So I do look forward to the growth, and anyone that understands where companies like IBM have come from, Apple, Microsoft, Google that started in a garage, and all this, and today, Apple is one of the most valued companies in the world. Look at Google. Most people think that they just grew. No, they just started out small. They had something unique they were offering. They kept developing that. They had a few people believe in it, and then the numbers grew. Of course, even in their own early days, if you follow that story, there were people that never believed in them. If you look at the story of ByteDance, the company behind TikTok, there were people that walked away. The story of Alibaba, there were people that Alibaba did not even pay salaries or dividends for 3 years. But people didn't believe. Some people left. Some people called them names. But where are they today? And so that is what we believe entrepreneurship can be like at some point. But those that buy in, those that go with you the long way, actually benefit in the end.
Ian, thank you very much for speaking to us and explaining to us what has been happening. We've had a lot of noise and everything, but thank you for setting the record straight and informing the people about what's happening at ACEX. Thank you very much, Ian.
Thank you so much for your time, and thanks for having me, man.
Much appreciated. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.